Strata Bites, your Strata update, with Frank Higginson from Redshift Strata Law.
We've decided to do a bit of broader content about body corporate records as a whole. Recently, there's been some decisions come out of the Commissioner's Office on some very specific issues like CCTV, but that is part of an overall program about access to records and what owners can and cannot get. It remains one of the most litigated topics in the Commissioner's Office, and inevitably, it's usually someone asking for a copy of something on the body corporate records because they're in some sort of dispute with the body corporate about it. So I think probably stepping back, there's a couple of ways to look at this. First of all, it's from a committee perspective. You have to give people the information they're asking for, unless really two prime examples. One is that it's privileged, and that, for example, is really, there's a whole bunch of litigation on this as well, but privilege at its core is legal advice that the body corporate has received in contemplation of litigation. So, for example, if you're threatening to sue the body corporate as a lot owner, the body corporate comes and gets legal advice from us about their rights and responsibilities in relation to your claim, you're not entitled to access to that information. And in fact, nor is anyone else in the body corporate that stays with the committee. And that's consistent with legal principles at every level. So if information's privileged, it's not available. And the other one is where the information or the material on the records is defamatory. So committees aren't obliged to release that to owners either. So you need to be careful from a committee perspective to make sure that it is actually defamatory before you deny people access to it. But beyond that, if the item is on the body corporate record and kept in accordance with the body corporate's obligations under the legislation, it's a bit of a free-for-all in the sense of owners are entitled to it. And from an owner's perspective, there is always the question of, if you're not giving it to me, what are you trying to hide? So where we get to when acting for bodies corporate in relation to requests from owners is, where at all possible, give the information over. Because trying to cover it up means that whatever conspiracy theory is running around in the community is going to be held to be believed far more readily than if you hand the information over. And from an owner's perspective, there's a whole bunch of rules around this as well. You need to pay 70 cents a page for the information. You don't know how much information you're actually getting. You can't go in and ask for every single email that's ever been sent. You need to be pretty prescriptive around what it is that you're seeking. You don't necessarily need to explain why, but it helps to be as specific as possible. So there's some very broad-ranging rules there that we try to run by. And of course, each request depends on its circumstances. So if you need help on either side of that coin, please let us know.